Hi, I'm Jim Bergren, and I'm the pastor of Holy Cross Lutheran Church in Houston, Texas. And this is the third Sunday of Easter in the C series. Here's your sign. As we say in the South, bless his heart, John simply cannot do endings well. He finished his first letter, and then he added an 8-verse epilogue with at least one little bit of advice at the end. Little children, keep yourselves from idols. His second and third letters to the church were all finished. And then he adds, he would love to write a whole lot more, but he'd rather speak face to face. He finishes Revelation, and then adds a 14-verse epilogue with warnings and benedictions. The last verses of John 20 from last week's lessons are, now Jesus did many other signs in the presence of the disciples, which are not written in this book, but these are written that you might believe Jesus is the Christ, the Son of God, and the believing you may have life in his name, period, amen, the end. Oh yeah. And then John 21, P.S. Here is a fish story that you just have to hear. The beloved disciple can't stop telling us how wonderful it is to be loved by Jesus. It wasn't easy being a disciple. 3 years of walking all over the countryside, and then your beloved teacher gets himself killed by dangerously powerful and vindictive elites, slammed with terrifying grief. You get 2 days to process the death before it becomes moot with the resurrection. The whiplash, which is frankly the resurrection an overwhelming mystery. Even if the outcome is overall good, we're still talking immeasurable post-traumatic stress. How much reconstruction of your world can you handle, changing your entire worldview? Their old world's gone. The new world is confusing and unknown. For them, it's high time for a strategic withdrawal, never say retreat, to a known comfort zone, the soothing waves and the rocking of the boat, the motherly odor of the sea, the muscle memory of throwing nets, the manageable hopes and disappointments of the outcome of the catch. And then a stranger shows up on shore, hollering at them, trying to tell them how to fish. The man on the shore asks a dumb question. On the Redneck Comedy Tour, along with Jeff Foxworthy, Ron White, and Larry the Cable Guy, is a comedian named Bill Engvall. His stock in trade has to do with dumb questions that have obvious answers, followed by snappy rejoinders, and the punchline, here's your sign. Presumably, the sign is to warn people about you. Is that y'all's pie-anner? Nope. It's a coffee table with buck teeth. Here's your sign. Grandma died, she's 104. Well, how'd she die? Hey, she was 104. She wrecked her Harley during bike week. Here's your sign. You walking your dog? No, I was walking the leash. That animal just crashed into it. You going fishing? No, battery on the Bronco's dead. Thought I'd push it to work with the boat. Here's your sign. You got a flat tire? No, was driving around. The other 3 swole up on me. He'll do that. Here's your sign. Your truck stuck under the bridge? No, I was just delivering that overpass and I ran out of gas right there. Here's your sign. And Jesus hollers, hey, fellas, catching anything? Nope, just practicing for when after they stalk this here lake. Now, here's your sign. John adds this chapter to show, once again, proof of the resurrection. If there's any doubt, we can be assured that believing Thomas, the scientist, is there to insist on concrete, objective evidence. Jesus hollers, Jesus spots a weird school of fish 100 yards away. Jesus starts a charcoal fire. That's a totally human activity. Chef Jesus cooks breakfast. Jesus eats breakfast with his best friend. Sharing food is totally human. Hallucinations don't do that stuff. There's your sign, Bubba. This story is full of amazements. Peter is vindicated in several ways. He decides to get most of the disciples back out into the world, for one, even if it just starts with fishing. When John identifies Master Jesus from the boat, Peter puts on proper clothing to meet the Master and jumps out of the boat. It doesn't say he swam 100 yards. I prefer to believe he sprinted across the waves to see Jesus. Nothing wrong with his faith this time. In the last section of this chapter, Peter professes his love for Jesus 3 times, which neutralizes his 3 denials of Jesus during the trial. Undoubtedly a matter of ponderous guilt in his life. He gets back in the boat to help his friends with the catch. And how about that catch? 153. Nice round number. Numerologists have had a heyday with that number, like it is the sum of all the numbers between 1 and 17 is 10, the number of completion, plus 7, the number of perfection. Okay. Some say it's the number of known nations in the world. Some say it's the number of known species of fish there, and that Jesus was the best fisherman ever because he caught 153 different fish in one cast. Okay. Come on. When you're fishing with a net, you're looking for schools of feeding fish. There, small fish processed into sardines were common. There's nothing extraordinary about catching 153 sardines in a net. A strong man could pick them out of the water with one hand. The net would weigh more than the fish. Not even enough little fish to bother counting. On the other hand, 153 5-pound fish, 765 pounds worth, is too heavy for a whole crew to haul over the gunnels. You just drag them to the nearest shore, sort them, and you're obviously going to count them. There's not a fisherman in the world that wouldn't count that kind of a catch just for bragging rights. Jesus was recalling his disciples. The original call to discipleship was in Luke chapter 5. First, a failure fishing trip, and then wild success. This fishing trip is again a failure, and then a gonzo amazing success, a recommissioning, a celebration meal, a holiday, a communion. The inception of Jewish holidays seems to follow a pattern. 1, they tried to kill us. 2, we survive. 3, let's eat. They killed him on the cross. He was raised. Breakfast on the beach. It's a beautiful fact that so many of the post-resurrection appearances include food. Food is such an ideal blessing. Both eating and Jesus are necessary for true, authentic life. We together, we share the Lord, who is in our midst. This ought to be a feast day in the Christian church. Why not? Let's have an outdoor service on this day next year with a fish fry, worship, and communion. Sharing food makes us human. Eating together, we discover the risen Lord in our midst, and we rise from despair into hope and joy. The risen Lord changes us not through comfort, although he gives us that, not through wisdom, although his wisdom is the greatest, and not through blinding miracles, although the daily ones are even more sustaining. The risen Lord changes us by enlisting us, giving us a recommissioning, a goal to joyfully proclaim his love, and a community to work in. This is not a Last Supper reprise. It is a first breakfast renewal. It's not the last meal of our old life. It is the first meal of our new life. Y'all catch all them fish? Nope. Just talked them into giving up. Here's your sign. Amen.